Welcome back to PSC Tech Bytes. Today I want to talk with you about a specific use case, which happens whenever you have a multi-tenant application registered in Azure AD and you target Office 365, but you don't know the name of the SharePoint Online tenant because it could be the name of the tenant, could be something else, depending on when and how the tenant was created. So you have access to the specific tenant, you have access to the Microsoft Graph, but you don't know the name of the SharePoint Online tenant. I mean the name that you need to put just before the .sharepoint.com in order to create the URL of every target site in your SharePoint Online tenant. Well, using the Microsoft Graph, you can make a request to get the site, root site of the SharePoint Online tenant, and through that one, you can get the full URL of the SharePoint Online tenant. And using the full URL of the SharePoint Online tenant, you can get an access token using the multi-resource refresh tokens that you can get through Azure AD in order to be able to access the target SharePoint Online tenant. Let me show you what I mean with the demo, and then we will wrap up this video. Here I am in Visual Studio 2017, and I'm in an ASP.NET MVC application, which I created just for the sake of showing you this scenario. Inside the home controller of this application, this MVC application, I use the get access token for current user helper method that I created, which under the cover uses ADAL to get an access token for a target resource, which by default will be the Microsoft Graph or can be any other resource that I need to access. Once I've got the Graph access token, I can make a request through the Graph endpoint called site/root to get a reference and a representation of the root site collection of my SharePoint Online tenant. And inside of the response I will get back, there will be also the full URL of the root site collection, which will include the tenant name, so the name.sharepoint.com that I need, that I'm looking for. In fact, through the response I get, I can have access to the web URL property, which I will show you pretty soon running this demo, and I will get back an access token for that specific resource thanks to the multi-resource refresh tokens that I get back from Azure Active Directory, so that later on I can make an HTTP request targeting the web URL of my SharePoint Online tenant, the one that I discovered dynamically using the Microsoft Graph, and I can access the REST API of SharePoint Online using that specific access token that I got back from Azure AD and from ADAL thanks to the root URL of the root site of SharePoint Online. The only thing that I need to know in a multi-tenant scenario is the URL of the Microsoft Graph, which is always the same, and I will be able to discover all the other information through the root site JSON representation that I will get back from this request. So let me run this application. Let me show you how it works in practice. So I'm running the application in the web browser. I will have to authenticate, and in this scenario I'm already authenticated, so I'm back in my code. I get the access token for the Microsoft Graph. Then I will get back the root site as a JSON representation and as a JSON object here, right here. So let me show you. Here is my root site as a JSON object, and I can show you the JSON content. Here you can see I have the web URL property, which is exactly what I'm looking for. And I was able to discover the name of my tenant.sharepoint.com just using the Microsoft Graph. Then I can get an access token for that specific URL, which will be the resource URL for SharePoint Online. And by doing that, I will be able to make a REST request targeting the REST APIs of SharePoint Online in order to get back a JSON representation of the web object, just for the sake of making an example of the web object of my root site. And that's it. Thanks for watching this video. I hope you found it useful, and I'm looking forward to seeing you next week. Thank you.